Hi everybody, and welcome to today's webcast. We're going to be diving into NetSuite integration today. I'm here with my colleague Ashwin Viswanath, who is our NetSuite expert, and we're actually going to be showing some interesting NetSuite integration. We're going to be talking about a use case that we're seeing increasingly with our customers around TwoTier ERP, and you're going to see Ashwin integrate SAP and NetSuite. So looking forward to that. We're going to do a little overview of SuiteWorld, which was a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully all of you have who did attend have recovered, and those who didn't, we'll share a few highlights. So let's dive in. We're going to cover some of the key use cases we see for integration with NetSuite on today's webcast. So it was a very great event, and thanks to our partners from NetSuite for putting on such a fantastic show. You can see all the energy there. You can see the Informatica team. Ashwin there is on the right, or in the middle. And yeah, it was just a lot of great energy and a lot of good discussions. We really talked to so many of you about the importance of integration, how you're really expanding the adoption of NetSuite, and companies of all sizes. So it was really interesting to see the broad spectrum of users and use cases, and the overall awareness of the importance of integration to NetSuite success. So it also came out in a lot of the coverage that we saw from the event that so much momentum around NetSuite. More and more organizations are moving their ERP, their back office to the cloud, and when that happens, it's really critical that you're thinking through integration at every step. That whether you're moving completely to NetSuite from another system, there's the migration process, but then there's the ongoing integration or synchronization with your previous system and other systems to make sure that you're feeding the NetSuite system and suite with relevant, timely, trustworthy information. So as more and more of you move to the cloud, what we've seen in Informatica is that there's a potential for these cloud applications to become disconnected or become potential silos. And it's really critical in order to capture the true potential and ROI of your overall NetSuite investment, that you focus on unlocking that potential, and that's where Informatica comes in. So what we talked about at the conference and what we talked about with NetSuite customers is the simplicity of the Informatica solution. Many of you may know Informatica for very significant enterprise technologies. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've invested in a cloud-based approach to data integration, and we've really tried to simplify the end-user experience to make it more accessible and easier to get up and running and to deliver value. So that's why we like to talk about the ability for Informatica Cloud to allow you to point, click, and connect. And that's what you're going to see in Ashwin's demonstration today. So just a few statistics on Informatica Cloud. If you're not familiar with our service, we've spent a lot of time with Salesforce.com customers. We work with pretty much any SaaS vendor on the market. You'll find Informatica in there. We have a breadth of connectors on our marketplace, which is informaticamarketplace.com, and over 2,000 companies are running our cloud integration service. We're actually processing now over 50 billion transactions a month. And you can see that yourself if you want to go and check it out at trust.informaticacloud.com. So Ashwin, why don't I have you just walk us through the architecture of Informatica Cloud, what this all looks like. Some people on the call may be familiar with our core engine, but not so much with the cloud-based approach.
Sure, thanks, Darren. So essentially what happens is with Informatica Cloud, we're a completely multi-tenant integration as a service. So you would basically go to informaticacloud.com and you would log in just like you would if you were using NetSuite. So in order to use Informatica Cloud, what you need to do is download a lightweight secure agent behind your firewall. And what the secure agent is it's a runtime engine that processes all the metadata from your various applications. So once you download the agent, you then establish your source and target connections, perform any filtering that you wish, and go ahead and run your data integration tasks. And in today's demo later on, I'm going to specifically focus on the data synchronization capabilities of Informatica Cloud, but there are a breadth of other capabilities as well.
Great. So a key point we wanted to highlight, while the secure agent can sit behind the firewall and often does to connect to on-premise systems, you can also run the agent on a cloud-based system. We have some customers running it on an Amazon instance, for example. But a key point here is that while it's known and called Informatica Cloud, we do not host your data in the cloud. We're all about facilitating the movement of data between systems and really giving you that real-time integration between different cloud applications and on-premise systems, as well as cloud-to-cloud use cases. We've also expanded here, as the bottom of this slide illustrates, and Ashwin mentioned, there's a number of use cases from loading to synchronization to replication, and we brought it into data quality and master data management as well. So a real breadth of capabilities in the area of integration and data management. So let's just go through some of the key use cases we see for NetSuite. And it's pretty obvious, I think, for if you're just on NetSuite now or just moving to it. The first use case for a technology like Informatica is around data migration. So getting your data into the NetSuite environment. So we have pretty powerful batch and bulk capabilities to really help you do the heavy lifting of moving your data from previous legacy systems into the NetSuite environment, or really virtually any target for that matter. The second, as you see here, is once you've got NetSuite loaded up with the information you need, the second is then to ensure it's connected with the rest of your business applications and databases. And that's what you're going to see in Ashwin's demonstration today. And then the third use case we're finding increasingly around cloud applications is, great, I've got my data in, I've got it well synchronized, now I want to be able to get my data out of that application, often for a business intelligence or analytics reporting requirement, or even for backup and compliance. Some of the larger customers we work with in certain industries, they have regulation and compliance mandates that really require them to back that data up from the cloud into an on-premise system. So those are three fairly straightforward use cases. Now we're going to walk through some of the more common process integration needs and requirements we see from NetSuite customers. So Ashwin, why don't you take us through a couple of these and then maybe talk through some of the customers we're working with.
Absolutely. So a lot of customers recognize NetSuite to be their system of record. With the move to cloud ERP, more and more customers are finding that NetSuite has some robust financial management capabilities to make it the system of record. And with this move towards best-of-breed cloud applications, there's an increasing need to integrate with NetSuite. So we have customers that are using, for example, Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics CRM Online for their CRM applications, and are using NetSuite for their cloud ERP functionality. At the same time, they're using Workday or Ultimate Software for their HR needs. All these different systems need to connect with NetSuite because NetSuite is the ultimate system of record. So for instance, if they're performing their CRM functions, the opportunity to order process and the quote-to-cash process is extremely important, as well as access to the NetSuite product and customer master. And if you're using a system like Ultimate Software or Workday, it's very important to ensure that certain employee-related information gets pushed into NetSuite as well.
Great. So those are some common use cases, especially I think Ashwin made a really good point about really cloud applications becoming quite best of breed in nature. Now, of course, we know many of you on today's call, NetSuite customers are looking at things from an overall suite perspective. So some of these use cases may not be as relevant for you, depending on your overall strategy around NetSuite and how you're deploying that in your organization. But here is another example. Ashwin mentioned that use case around integrating an HR system with the ERP, so from a back office financials with your human capital management information. And what we're trying to do is not only give you the ability to connect to systems, but also recognize that there are repeatable processes, repeatable patterns. So instead of you having to do this from scratch each time, we have the concept of pre-built integration templates. So you can go out to our marketplace and you can actually go and get one of these integration templates and really kickstart a project, recognizing again that there are particular objects that you're probably going to want to map between these systems and really help you accelerate the implementation. So as you can see in this particular integration template we have for Workday and NetSuite, we've focused on the ability to enforce strict cost controls, to accurately assess financial impact of employee benefits, and then to help you enforce stringent IT security processes. And again, more information on this particular template is available at informaticamarketplace.com. So we also wanted to mention that it's available on the SweetApp site. Anything you want to mention about Informatica on some of the NetSuite SweetApp environments?
Certainly. So SweetApp, as you know, is NetSuite's marketplace, and we have our free data loader listed there, as well as our Workday to NetSuite integration package. So a lot of our customers have asked us around the use case around, for example, Workday to NetSuite integration and what the need for that is. And some of the benefits of this integration is described at SweetApp.com.
Great. And we'll talk a little bit more about our data loader towards the end of today's presentation. So the use case that I mentioned in the introduction and is one that Ashwin's going to spend a few minutes on in his demonstration, which is quite interesting. It's this concept of two-tier ERP. And what that means is many of you, and particularly in larger organizations, instead of rolling out your big sort of heavy system of record, that be, say, Oracle, EBS, or SAP, or JD Edwards, something like that you've been running for some time on-premise, instead of rolling that out into your divisions and departments and dealing with what entails or what is involved around that kind of implementation, what we're starting to see and working with NetSuite customers on is this concept of two-tier ERP, where you can roll out NetSuite to your divisions and to your departments and making sure that it's well integrated with the real core systems of record, that being, say, SAP or Oracle. And you can see here, I like this quote from Forrester: multinational firms need to consider their global ERP strategy as they balance the need to reduce IT complexity with the need to support the increasingly diverse requirements of their myriad markets, offerings, and channels. So another quote that I thought was pretty impactful was when we announced our partnership, it was about a year and a half ago now, maybe even 2 years, with NetSuite. NetSuite CEO made the comment that the partnership with Informatica really combines two best-in-class solutions to bring cloud ERP to the enterprise. And I highlighted this particular part of the quote, is that CIOs in the world's largest companies now have the tools they need to build an enterprise-class hub-and-spoke strategy. And that's really what we're going to be talking about here today, which is this hub-and-spoke concept that will really enable you to dramatically reduce your IT costs by standardizing on a cloud ERP system. So that is the quote, and we can certainly provide more information on the concept, but we're going to actually dive into a few of the details here now. So Ashwin, why don't you walk us through what this process flow would look like between, say, an SAP or an Oracle with NetSuite?
Certainly. So what we've found with most two-tier ERP customers is that when they want to expand into subsidiaries or divisions or business units around the world, and they first deploy NetSuite, they need access to master data within SAP or Oracle. And they don't need access to all the master data, but they need access to some key objects within SAP or Oracle. So the first step really is to ensure that there's a bulk upload of at least the customer, product, and materials master data from SAP or Oracle into NetSuite. Once that's done, now your business unit or subsidiary can begin operating on a daily basis. So let's say you acquire new customers in, say, the Asia Pacific region, or let's say your newly deployed EMEA region. You need to ensure that these new customers that you acquire in those subsidiaries also get pushed into your corporate SAP or Oracle deployment so that that customer or product master can be updated. After that's done, you need to make sure that if you have any more updates to customer data, you need to keep doing that on an incremental basis as well. And the final step is on a quarterly basis, most companies will report their financial results. You need to make sure that all the order summaries you've acquired from these different subsidiaries are pushed into SAP or Oracle for financial reporting purposes.
Great. So the key benefit here, as Zach's quote highlights, is really that the ability to be more agile, to, as all these incremental updates and changes, to make sure that they're reflected automatically between these systems, so that you do have that single golden trusted master data at all times, and it all rolls up, as Ashwin mentioned, whether that's quarterly or monthly or whatever your financial reporting requirements are. So good overview on the concept. So now let's switch gears. I'm going to make you the presenter here, Ashwin, and you can show us kind of what this looks like in Informatica Cloud and how you would set up an integration between SAP and NetSuite.
Sure. So let me quickly go into what the Informatica Cloud interface looks like, and as well as what an SAP interface would look like. So most of you who are NetSuite users are quite familiar with the NetSuite homepage here, and you're quite familiar with the lists relationships, where you can see our list of customers. And in SAP, the front GUI looks something like this. So let's see if you wanted to get some customers within SAP into your NetSuite environment. I'm going to just show you what the integration workflow with an Informatica Cloud would look like. So the first thing that I want to show you is that Informatica Cloud is a very easy-to-use 6-step process which guides you through the various steps of the integration process. And the first thing you would do here is to give your task an easy-to-remember name. And then after that, you basically define your task operation. In this case, it's an upsert because we're just basically updating NetSuite with some new customers from SAP. After you're done with that, it's time to select your source object. And your source application here is going to be SAP. I have it all set up here, but if you didn't, what you would do is you would go ahead and click on New, and then you give it an easy-to-remember name for your connection, and then under Type, you would select the SAP Table Connector. Once you go ahead and select that, you would have to select the source table within SAP that you want to integrate with, and you have the ability to display either the technical field names within SAP or even just the business names, and you have the ability to preview all columns here. And one thing I really want to highlight here is that we have full connectivity to all the 80,000 tables in SAP, and that's a lot. So if you wanted to search for a specific table, you can go ahead and do so within this particular user interface.
So on the web, within the Informatica Cloud service, you're essentially connecting natively to SAP, which is an on-premise system here, and you're browsing the metadata. You're being able to toggle between business and technical names. That's pretty powerful, and this is a new capability. We introduced our Informatica Cloud SAP connector with our summer release. So definitely, we're trying to simplify. We know connecting to SAP is not easy. As you can see, just by toggling between the business and technical names, there's some cryptic-looking information there. But trying to really make it as easy as possible to allow you to integrate with SAP.
Great. So now that we selected the source, we now go on to selecting the target step. So this is where we have to go ahead and select NetSuite as a target, because that is the system where we want to push SAP-related information into. So eventually, we want it to appear here in the customer list within NetSuite. So I already have a connection to NetSuite set up here, but let's say if you did not have a connection, you would essentially go ahead and click on New, just as in the previous step, but instead of SAP, in this case, you would select NetSuite, and you would go ahead and enter your username, password, credentials. And as you can see here, we are connecting through their API here, and what we do is we abstract all the back-end web services for you so that you can access all the NetSuite objects natively. So as you can see here, we have full connectivity to all the NetSuite objects within NetSuite, and we also can connect to any child or related object within NetSuite here. So once we're done with that, the next step is to do some data filtering. So this is an optional step here. Let's say you only wanted a subset of SAP data to come in. You could basically filter on that, and I just defined a very simple filter here called NET. So it'll only bring in those customer records from SAP that have this flag called NET, and that's these customer records. So now let's go into the field mapping stage. So the field mapping stage essentially allows you to map various fields within your SAP table to the specific NetSuite object that you've selected. And you can either hit auto match, and Informatica Cloud will automatically match the different fields for you based on perhaps it's a phone number or an address, or you can actually, if you want to do it manually, you can go ahead and drag and drop. And once you drag and drop, you can even do even further functionality to it. For instance, if you wanted to change the character types, you want to apply some cleansing rules to it. If you have some sophisticated financial management capabilities you want applied so that NetSuite can make use of them, or any other sort of advanced expressions.
So this is really the power of Informatica here. We're so well known for our powerful transformation engine, our overall performance and throughput. What we've done with Informatica Cloud is we've tried to provide this a few clicks deeper into the interface so that you can very simply do, as Ashwin did, some simple dragging and dropping, but if you want to go into more advanced functionality, it's available for you as well. So we found that people who are pretty savvy in Excel get this very, very quickly. Certainly anyone who's used Informatica technologies in the past get this very quickly because it's the same engine and the same library of transformations. But really that point-click simplicity is something we've focused on for our software as a service data integration solution.
Great. And then the final step here is just a scheduling step. So we found a lot of our customers like the set it and forget it mode. So you can go ahead and create a schedule here, and you can choose different options that you want. So for example, let's say I want this particular synchronization to happen every hour. I can go ahead and do that, or every couple of minutes. I have the ability to do that as well.
And that's a key point, is this automation of your integration. So many organizations that we work with typically start with hand coding. They write some scripts. They start hiring a developer to work with a web services API, and it might help you initially, but it's very difficult to maintain over time. So we're trying to, as Ashwin's mentioned, we're trying to abstract that complexity away and allow you to really automate your integration and really working at the metadata level. So that is our objective. That's what we do, is really helping you, move away from a manual approach to a more automated cloud-based approach in this case.
Great. So essentially, Darren, that is a 6-step process. And as you can see, it's a very easy way for customers to get started with NetSuite in their divisions and subsidiaries. If they want access to their SAP master data, they don't have to be an expert in coding. They can use this 6-step wizard to access his master data.
Great. So you've shown the integration between SAP and NetSuite. Can you talk about some other connectors that customers could work with if they wanted to run Informatica Cloud?
Certainly. So for those of you that are going to go ahead and use the Informatica Cloud application, one thing I do want to show you is some of the other connectivity that we have. So once you go under the Administration tab, and then you click on the Connectors subtab, you'll see a list of other connectors that we have full native connectivity to. For example, Chatter, Concur, Eloqua, there's a certain Great Plains, a lot of different connectors. And as you can see, all you have to do is click on Free Trial, and it deploys into your Informatica Cloud account immediately, which is what I've done with the NetSuite connector, as well as the SAP connector.
Great. So we've focused on one particular use case around SAP connectivity, but as you can see here, as you start to integrate NetSuite with more and more systems, we not only have pre-packaged connectors available, we also have the ability for our partners and our customers actually to build their own connectors. So pretty much anything with a web service or anything with SQL based, we can work with you and build a connector for. So we know we have some partners on today's call, and you can see in in these cases, some of our partners, like in this case, Mansa Systems, has built our ServiceNow connector. So we definitely want to work with you on understanding what your integration requirements are, and then ensure that we can help you with whatever connectivity you need for your NetSuite deployment. So with that, Ashwin, why don't you make me the presenter, and we'll just wrap up with a few next steps for people on today's webcast.
Certainly.
Okay, so great. So we talked about the two-tier ERP use case, the SAP to NetSuite integration options. So there's a couple of next steps that we'd like to encourage you to consider. So the first is, of course, to visit InformaticaCloud.com and get started with a 30-day trial. Now, with that trial, we expose pretty significant functionality to you. We really want to make sure you have access to the power of Informatica Cloud in that 30-day period. And you'll see once you're logged in here, as Ashwin just walked you through, you go to your Connectors tab, and if NetSuite isn't already set up for you, you can easily go and get it and add that to your trial, as well as any other connectors that you see in that list that Ashwin walked through. The other option that we want you to consider is especially if you're just working with integrating NetSuite with some files or with some spreadsheets and maybe a database, we do have a free data loader for NetSuite customers. And this has proven to be quite powerful. It's really a great way to get going with automating and simplifying some of your basic integration requirements. Maybe it's just a migration of loading some data into NetSuite or another cloud application. So we have data loaders for Salesforce, for Workday, for pretty much anything that we have a connector for. You can get started with an Informatica data loader. And as I mentioned, it's a great way to get started. A lot of smaller companies run the data loader, but also large companies get started with it and then move up into more advanced functionality. Say for example, integrating with SAP or other business applications. So the data loader is one that we definitely want you to have a look at, and it's the easiest way to get started with Informatica Cloud. So that's what we wanted to cover in today's presentation, walking you through some of the use cases for integrating NetSuite with the rest of your business. And we'd like to encourage you to connect with us. Visit InformaticaCloud.com to learn more and get started with either a trial or with our free data loader service. So with that, that'll wrap up today's webcast, and we'd like to thank you all for joining.